Paula Meehan is a poet who writes... Some of her poems are extremely reflective, and Buying Winkles is one of them. They're about her life, her childhood, her experiences. But there's often a bit of social commentary in these personal poems. Cora Auntie is a good example. Heart Lesson is an excellent example. And so is Buying Winkles. I really like this poem. That's a winkle, by the way. It's like seafood. It's a little... In the old days, my kids, we were in Dundrum there yesterday, and they wanted to get an ice cream. Big treat for them. Well, I wish it was a big treat for them. Anyway, in other words, they get everything they want when they want it all the time, which is my failure as a parent. But Paula Meehan lived in a different world. It was a world of poverty. She grew up in Dublin's inner city in the 1950s and early 1960s. And it was a world where there was a lot of poor people, and she was one of them. Her family were not wealthy. She moved out to Finglas later on in her kind of later childhood and teenage years. And one of the treats that she remembers as a kid wasn't going getting ice cream, it was going buying Winkles, these little treats, these little... she'd go down the road and, there was a woman sitting outside the Rose Bowl bar, and she'd have all the buckets of Winkles in a wrapped in newspaper, and you go and you'd buy them off her, and you come home and you'd eat them as a treat. And this poem is just a kind of a beautiful memory poem in which she celebrates that experience of the magic of childhood, the innocence of childhood. On that scale, it's a fantastic poem. There's more going on here. There's a lot more going on. I don't want to overcomplicate it. Let's have a read of it. Buying Winkles by Paula Meehan. My mother would spare me sixpence. I'm going to read the first stanza and mark a few things up, and I'll come back to them. And say, hurry up now and don't be talking to strange men on the way. I dash from the ghosts on the stairs where the bulb had blown, out onto Gardner Street. All relief. A bonus if the moon was in the strip of the sky between the tall houses, or stars out. But even in rain I was happy. The Winkles would be wet and glisten blue like little night skies themselves. I'd hold the tanner tight. Sorry. And jump every crack in the pavement. I'd wave at the women on the sills, or those lingering in doorways, and weave a glad path. Look at that. Through men heading out for the night. So you can see it's a narrative. It's a beautifully natural narrative. It's like, when you read it, it doesn't feel like it's like there's not a huge amount of craft. It doesn't feel like it's just somebody speaking naturally. But the amount of skill it takes to write with that natural voice is extraordinary. Like, her control of her language is really, really, really impressive. But you have this wonderful image of this kid, and she's getting out, woohoo, she's running down the stairs, and she goes outside, and she's going to buy the Winkles, and she's doing what kids do. She's jumping over every crack in the pavement. She's waving hello at the women on the doorsteps and in the windowsills, and there's loads going on. It's a celebration of a happy memory. But then you just do that thing, just scrape a little bit under the surface. Look at that first line. My mother would spare me sixpence. Sixpence is not a lot of money. Never was a lot of money. Unless you're really poor. To spare means like to make a sacrifice. Like, if I give you this sixpence, I'm going to miss out on something else. So there we have a little allusion to poverty and to the reality of poverty in her childhood, but also to love, because her mother would spare her the sixpence. The mother, in giving her that sixpence, that's an act of love. It's an act of sacrifice. And that ties into all those little sacrifices that we make for those that we love. And suddenly, the poem opens up. When she says, I dash from the ghosts on the stairs where the bulb had blown, all relief, that suggests something about the family home. She lived in this tenement building which wasn't very well maintained, and the bulbs were blown out, so it's not a very pleasant place to live. But there's something else as well going on there. You read Heart Lesson, And you'll know that her family home was a place of conflict and a place where there was a lot of suffering. So the sense that getting out of the family, the bulb being blown maybe is emblematic of darkness, and darkness is representative of the struggles or the difficulties that the family encountered, and getting out from that home was a relief, in the same way as when you grow up, you get away from your family home, and if there's any strife you're happy to leave it behind you. Subtext loads going on. That ties in then to the line, even in rain I was happy. Look at that there. Again, you think about pathetic fallacy, that idea that the weather reflects the mood, and rain is emblematic of dark times, suffering. But even in rain I was happy. Is the poet reflecting on her childhood, and the childhood being a time of difficulty, a time where there was poverty and discord in the family home, and it was difficult, but she was just a happy kid? Weaving at glad. Is there a better line in any of the poems that you've ever read than the image of a child weaving a glad path? I love it. Just the freedom, the light touch of childhood. But all around her, there are all these things that hint at a more complicated world. The men are heading out for the night. Not the people, but the men. So this is a patriarchy. This is a world where women are not equal. In fact, the women are left at home. Look at that image. The women are at the sills. So they're leaning on the window sills as she goes by. How are you, Paula? How are you, Mrs. Murphy? So the women stay at home. The women's role is domestic. They never leave their place of work. Their home is their place of work, and they don't leave that. But the men get to go out. So there's inequality there. The fact that she holds a tanner is a colloquial term for the sixpence, the money. And she holds it tight because she doesn't want to lose it. And it's not just not wanting to lose it, but it's a lot of money to her. And if she loses it, she's not going to get another one. So again, reference to poverty. And then I have had students in class saying to me that their teacher has said the reference to the women lingering in doorways could be a reference to prostitution. And absolutely it could be. I'm not sure if it is. I'm not sure if I'm being influenced by my own childhood growing up in Rolla Avenue and in Clondalkin and Neilstown, and going out and coming home, and the ladies that lived on my road, I won't name them, but love to them all, sitting on the wall having a cup of tea. Often the husband maybe gone off to the pub, and they're sitting and they're saying, "How are you, Paul?" And I'm coming home. I recognise this world she's describing. Now, there may be that the darkness is there, that lingering in doorways may be a reference to women who are, pushed by poverty to such desperation that there's a resort to prostitution. It's not overt. You can imply it. You're not wrong to say it. But I don't think there's enough there for it. I think it's just the awareness of poverty and the awareness of inequality of the sexes. So she goes out. And all this is going on all around her. But she's a kid and she's just happy. And she gets to the woman who sold the Winkles. And the reason I marked the bits in blue, the tanner, the women sitting at sills, Gardner Street, what do all good writers do when they're telling stories? They pay attention to detail, incidental details that combine to create a vivid image. And here we have another example of it. She'd be sitting outside the Rose Bowl bar, or on an orange crate, a pram loaded with pails of Winkles before her. Can't you see her? Every time the detail is put in, it's like it's like the stroke of a painter's brush. Each individual stroke making the image clearer. The bar is called the Rose Bowl Bar. She's sitting on an orange crate, so a crate that was used to transport oranges. She's got a pram in front of her, but it's not full of, it doesn't have a child, it has little buckets of Winkles in it. When the bar door swung open, they'd leak the smell of men together with drink. And I'd see light in the golden mirrors. I envied each soul the hot interior. And again, we have this incredible moment where the door is open and we have this blast of this sensuous blast of the visual, the light, the olfactory, the smell, the sense of another world, a world for them while the women are outside in the cold. Them, that's men. There's a world where Women weren't allowed go into the bars. Only men were allowed into the bars. There's a world of inequality, and the poet dreams of a different world in that last section there. Very, very, very clever. And then we have what I think is one of the best things that Paula Meehan ever wrote. She says, I'd ask her again, what about this for cinematic writing? What about this for when you read it, you can see it? I'd ask her to show me again the right way to do it. Now, by doing it, she means getting the edible winkle out of a little tiny shell. She'd take a pin from her shawl. Can you see her? Open the eyelid, bit of dialogue. So, stick it in till you feel a grip, then slither him out. Now, can't you see that? Very, very, very vivid writing. Gently mind, the sweetest extra winkle that brought the sea to me. Isn't that lovely? This is what her mother's gift did for her. Brought her something exotic, something different, something thrilling, something exciting. Brought colour to her world. Brought the sea, the taste of the sea to her world. Being grateful for little things, you know. Not taking little things for granted. That's what I get from this poem. And then the wonderful bit of dialogue with the colloquial language. Tell your ma I picked them fresh this morning. That wonderful Dublin accent. Maybe you always have it. Tell your ma. Lovely piece of phonetic spelling. And then the best line in the poem. And I know I've marked too much here, as always I do. I just love this stuff. The best line in the poem. I'd bear the newspaper twists, bulging, fat with winkles, proudly home, like torches. And that simile there, just learn that. She carried them home. And she says, and they were fat and bulging, so what a treat. And she was proud and able to go out and get them for her man, bring the family home that treat. But they were like torches. What's a torch do? Think about Prayer for the Children of Longing, where she talked about moonlight and starlight and the light of the Christmas tree. What does a torch do? It brings light where there is darkness. Think about the symbolism of that. The idea that darkness symbolises difficulty, struggle, despair, pain, melancholy, but light symbolises relief, joy, hope. So, what are we seeing? This wonderful evocative simile, this wonderful image of this happy child coming home with these winkles. And these winkles symbolic of happiness, a shining, bright, burning, happy memory from what might be, suggested it might be, an otherwise quite dark experience of life in her childhood. Amazing poem, brilliant poem. Bullabus, Paula Meehan.